House of the Dragon Season 1 recap. We love the show here. They did such a good job. We were worried because of the end of Game of Thrones, but gosh, it exceeded our expectations. Let's go. Welcome back to AsArt. My name is Nick, and I have Kyle who with me on Instagram. He's known as Pecos with the Zero. Go check him out. He's a super talented artist. By the way, one of you have commented saying he is a talented artist. Thank you so much for going and checking out his artwork.
Sweet.
You're awesome. That. So thank you. I'll just put it right here. I don't remember the exact wording, but I'll put it here. But yes, we do go through comments and read them. And we also like to read comments in the end of videos sometimes. So let's do this. This is a recap of House of Dragon. Go for it. So okay. Kyle has a special recap for us today.
Yeah, so we're just gonna gloss. We're just gonna. I don't want to bore everyone with an exhaustive recap of stuff. So I'm just gonna give a nice concrete summary. Okay, so episode 1, we get introduced to a lot of rich people with power and influence because they're the only ones with nuclear dragons. Viserys, the king, just wants to have a good time and everyone to get along. On the whole, this is a bad move. Rhaenyra is the heir to the Iron Throne. She's a woman, and everyone's mad about that. Yep. Daemon is the brother of Viserys, a bloodthirsty lunatic and chief of police. And then Queen Aemma promptly dies due to the realities of medieval childbirth. Yeah. So no character development on her. Episode 2, the Council of Rich People, still mad about Rhaenyra being a woman, suggest Viserys shop around for a new bride, specifically one who is fertile, regardless of how young they are. Lord Corlys gets into some naval shenanigans with the crab feeder, who surprisingly feeds his enemies crabs. Episode 3, now we jump in our time machine and we see that Viserys' teen bride, Alicent, has sired a dude heir, which all the rich people are totally happy about. Daemon introduces the crab feeder's forces to the concept of dragonfire, which they're not really fans of. Rhaenyra is getting marriage proposals left and right and is not too hot on the idea of being some lord's baby factory. Chapter 4, Rhaenyra and Daemon go out for a night on the town for some much-needed uncle-niece time. No more on that topic. She returns to the Red Keep to keep the party going with Sarah Kristen Cole. And then the next day, she decides to wed Laenor Velaryon and tell her dad to get rid of Otto Hightower because he's mad about her being a woman. Episode 5. So Viserys' goal of Baldwining himself progresses very nicely. And Rhaenyra and Laenor have a stroll on the beach and talk about their meal preferences, probably related to the wedding or something. They have a beautiful wedding with plenty of blood and misery. It's fantastic. And then Daemon also has a great reunion with his wife at the Vale, where he introduces her to his new pet rock. Episode 6.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh.
That's
so good.
Okay. And then episode 6, hey, it's another time travel episode. This time, everyone looks different, except for the dudes for some reason. Rhaenyra is having a grand old time popping out strong babies that don't seem to hold any of Laenor's features. I'm sure it's nothing because no one talks about it. Daemon's new wife, Laena, has trouble popping out her baby, so she asks her dragon to start a fire with her as the kindling. Episode 7, Laena is buried at sea while everyone glares at each other. And Aemon makes friends with Vegar, which escalates everything into a Lord of the Flies situation really fast. This is, this is a bargain when you consider he also got a sick new scar out of the deal. Rhaenyra and Daemon, wistful of their incestuous forays, fake Laenor's death so they can finally put the hot in hot D. Laenor secretly escapes with his lover so they can drink some margs and catch some sun on Tyroshi Beach somewhere. Everybody wins, the way I see it, because except Laenor's parents, who think he died in a freak fireplace accident. Episode 8 continues. Viserys isn't doing so great, but he got a baller Phantom of the Opera type mask out of the deal. So win in my book. Daemon decides to give Vaemond a haircut, but quickly realizes he probably needs to go to a barber school. Viserys finally gets his wish to have a big Thanksgiving dinner with his family until Aemon decides to speak some strong words. Alicent hears the disjointed thoughts of a dying man and thinks it's all about what she wants. Episode 9 is with with Viserys' death. The rich people council decide to pull the old coronation switcheroo and declare Aegon king, probably for his sick burns during last night's dinner. The most boring coup in Westeros history takes place while Rhaenys battles with a locked door, and Aegon hides from doing what the grown-ups want. Now, during Aegon's coronation, as he realizes maybe this whole king thing won't be so bad, he's reality checked by Rhaenys, who kills hundreds of people just so she can yell at him with her dragon and fly off. And then finally, at episode 10, Rhaenys flies to Dragonstone to tell Rhaenyra about the switcheroo and that her stepuncle, or Stunkle, has been declared king, unfortunately shocking her into a miscarriage. Everyone loyal to Rhaenyra gather around their big nightlight table and figure out who isn't mad at her for being a woman. Rhaenyra sends her inexperienced teenage sons as official emissaries to intimidate people with their scary dragons. Aemon beats Lucerys to Storm's End and shows him his cool sapphire eye. Lucerys thinks this is gross and runs away, but the two decide to make amends and play a friendly game of dragon tag. Unbeknownst to them, dragons don't play games, and Vegar chomps Arax and Lucerys out of the sky, making for possibly the worst in-flight meal ever. And that's it. That's the recap of Game of Thrones. A lot happened. A lot of people, a lot of events, a lot of intrigue. So, yeah.
And a lot of time went by.
A lot of time went by, yeah. Yeah,
dude,
like
that was awesome.
Yeah.
I might want to make a TikTok of each
I was like thinking, I'm like, if Nick wants to, he could do it if you want.
I will. That's gonna be fun to edit.
Yeah.
There's so many clips I have to find. Oh, that's awesome, guys. Comment down below. Say how awesome Kyle is for that recap. I kind of want one of Rings of Power now.
I was thinking about that too. That'd be hilarious.
I want one from almost every show we cover. I need Severance. I also need Severance. Dude, that might actually be good to do for Severance before season 2 comes out. Anyways, we cover Severance here.
You know what? I could expand on this, and we could do like I could do some drawings, just some basic drawings, like kind of along with the shtick, you know?
Hey, I'm not gonna stop you.
Okay. But yeah, so
thank you. That was awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. I know that had to take some kind of time. That was amazing.
It did.
I loved it though. That was so clever. To the nightlight table, that got me. The Rock. Anyways, that's all we're gonna say there. All right. That was a great recap. I don't even know if I can even top it with anything I say now at this point. Okay. But I will say it was an amazing season, and it exceeded my expectations for a fantasy show coming from HBO. Because I had my doubts after Game of Thrones. I didn't know if this was just like a cash grab or if they were just trying to use the name to just throw whatever out. And it's so funny because you kind of see that now with the Rings of Powers. They almost just use the name Lord of the Rings to make it look nice, and there's no substance inside of it, where this is just like, oh my gosh, this book is heavy. Like, there's so much in-depth substance and character arcs and world building going on in this first season. I might even enjoy it more. Oh, I really like the first season of Game of Thrones, but it's a good first season. Like, it really is a good first season. Obviously, there's more VFX than the first Game of Thrones. I remember the first Game of Thrones, the battles weren't even on scene, right? They would like go battle. They would be riding back from the battle like, we have won the battle. You know?
Yeah. I feel that like they've really locked in their VFX and like their like production crew. Yes. Like, I think that's really playing a major part. They know who to go to now. And it's shot they have their pipelines. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
They know exactly what the feel is.
Especially that last episode. Britt on the channel, she was just talking about the sky in the background when they met on the bridge. Yeah. It was just like, oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, that's super beautiful lighting, and it's just, you can't beat that stuff. It just looks so good. And man, I was happy with the ending. I wanted to see something else, but that'll go in our prediction videos. We're going to be doing a prediction section where we're going to be spoiling some stuff, even mentioning some spoilers too from the Game of Thrones show, which spoils Hot D. So we're going to have a lot of fun here with these topics. But Kyle, what was your overall thoughts and feelings? And like, did you enjoy it? Yeah.
Yeah, this was like, I don't know, man. I think that like we needed to have the ups and downs of Game of Thrones to get House of the Dragon. Like, I think that like what it gave us for the first season is a fantasy political intrigue, like type of show with of course all the other stuff that we love with like, you know, dragons and like warfare and stuff. But
And
like a lot of this
talking in a
happens
room.
exactly. People talking in a room, right?
So
And
good.
because we're already sort of, and in a way, it's interesting because it feels like they took that into account that a lot of people have probably already seen Game of Thrones. So they're aware of like the tone of politics, right? And it's like, okay, well, what's the same about these politics, but different because it's a different ruling body, right? And I feel like I got that a lot. There's definitely a different flavor to Targaryen rule than there is when the Baratheons, you know, kind of came about.
Or Joffrey.
Right? Or Joffrey, right?
Excuse me. Sorry,
Yeah.
yes, the Joffrey rule.
The Joffrey rule, yeah.
The days of the cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Indeed.
I went back, so I've been going back and watching some Game of Thrones. That kid is twisted, man.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I forgot how twisted that kid was. Like,
Mhm.
I was so happy when his wedding day came. But
So happy for him. So happy for him.
you know what? Since we're talking about Game of Thrones, just in case here are spoilers, we're probably just gonna jump right into predictions and stuff now.
Yeah.
That recap was amazing. By the way, we recapped every episode too. So if you want to hear our recap in detail of the episodes, go check them out. We have a lot of fun talking about the show. But we'll go into some theory stuff. Since I'm rewatching the videos, I was like, wait a minute, I know who these characters are now when they talk about them.
Yep.
And so I was like, Kyle, and I told Kyle too, like, I think around episode like 8 or 7, I was like, Kyle, I found these clips. We have to talk about this. And I just kept forgetting to send them to him. But I sent them to him today, and it was so good. There's a clip of Joffrey basically talking about the end of House of Dragons. It was just so insane. Like, what's going to happen to our main character? Do you think we should just play the clip here really quickly?
Sure.
Popcorn.
Rhaenyra Targaryen was murdered by her brother, or rather, his dragon. It ate her while her son watched. What's left of her is buried in the crypts right down there.
And there you have it. That's how it's going to possibly end. I mean, obviously, it's what the Maester says, or what they think the history
Right.
is. So technically, they can. I mean, they're already doing that with the book itself. They're already changing some certain story plots and stuff and mixing it up a little bit. So
I mean, isn't that also because as the audience we get to see what quote unquote truly happened? Right?
Yes. Because you want to explain how the book was written really, really quickly, Kyle?
Yeah, so there are two accounts, right? There's the account written by I forget the name of the Maester, but it was called a true telling, right? So you know, he's much more scholarly, right, and like attention to detail. But he also has the proclivities of someone who's around nobility all the time, right? So he's going to focus on certain things. Whereas the other account of the Dance of Dragons, it comes from a court jester called Patchface, which is a much more like, you know, it seems to be much more seated in rumor and maybe not so factual, but it has more of like this ground truth to it, right? So like you get this cross section of fact and fiction that it like some like things line up, but details are different, right? Because of the different perspectives. So it's really hard to sort of like get a coherent picture of the whole events around the Dance of Dragons.
And what's really cool now, it's like almost this is their chance to say this is the true history now. Because we're not getting it from a perspective of someone else. We're getting it from the actual perspective of the characters. So like even the whole thing, like in the book, isn't it more like Alicent wants the throne? Like she seems more throne hungry to get her kid on the throne. Where this is like, oh, she misinterpreted what her husband said. So it's like, you know, she's doing it out of love and duty. You know, like, you know, this is what my husband literally said to me before. So in her head, she's doing the right thing. And it's not like a greed thing. She's like, no, this is what he said to me kind of thing.
I mean, and this is like a commentary on like what happens in actual history.
Yeah.
Like there are, you know, people get the wrong message and they do something like also like people don't mean to do something, but sometimes it happens. Like at last episode where Vegar, you know, attacks, you know, Lucerys and Arax, right? Like, and like Aemon is like, no, Vegar, you know, like,
listen to me, obey my command. It's like,
and
no.
Chippity Chomp, you know.
Which in the books, it's more like he hated him so much he wanted him dead, kind of thing. Like that's the vibes you get off of it, right? Where this is more of like, oh crap, that was an accident. Like, we're like,
because you know, as we know, history is written by people who can be fallible narrators,
Yep.
right? They can have their own, sometimes they love a good story, so they'll maybe spice that up a little bit, you know.
So, yep. So that's just what's so cool about this show and the writing of the Game of Thrones world, and just in general too, because they mix up prophecies all the time. The prophecy could have two meanings. It could be he and she in the same word, so it can be prince or princess and all that fancy stuff to just ruin everything and make it great. And where it's like, oh no, hold the door. So, all right. So let's go into some fun predictions.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So much happens in the Dance of Dragons. Like, oh my God. Like, honestly, I don't know if we'll get all of it in season 2. I don't know.
I like that.
But, and I do have some theories on where they might end the season 2. But like, first off, I think, obviously season 2 is going to focus mainly on the Civil War and its circumstances, right? Sure, we're going to get some cool battlefield stuff and fights, but we're also going to get more of the political intrigue, the like movements of power, right? So like, I'm pretty sure that Daemon is going to assault Harrenhal without bloodshed, maybe. Though there'll probably be some just for the show's sake, and also because we're seeing the true telling now, right? So it might, and then I think this because it's reflected by the discussion at the planning table when Daemon said he would treat with Lord Grover personally to remind him of his allegiance, right? This is on the last episode. And, I'm guessing, and it's my theory that, yeah, exactly. Like Lord Grover will probably decline to support Rhaenyra's claim and Daemon will do what he does best and project power, right? And will do this by going to Harrenhal, the largest fortress and holding in the Riverlands, and be like, yo, like, this is mine now.
Yeah.
And like, I'm thinking that's going to start the Civil War in the Riverlands, which is an offshoot conflict within the Dance of Dragons, right? So like, it's going to cascade. So, we may get... So yeah, that's like my take on that. Like that'll probably happen in like the first 2, maybe 3 episodes. And then we may get to see the dynamic duo Blood and Cheese. Nick, you and I were talking about them earlier.
Yeah.
Blood being a former sergeant of the City Watch and Cheese is a rat catcher from the Red Keep.
Which we've been totally teased with all the rats.
Yep.
That's
true.
There's rats in the castle, so someone has to get them. So he has to know his way around.
He's got to know his way around. And then, so they're known, at least in the histories, they're known for killing Prince Jaehaerys, which is one of Helena's children.
And we're not going to go into detail how that happens.
Right.
We'll save that for your own, even if you are into spoilers and stuff. But it's crazy the way it happens. It's not what you expect. And it's going to be very shocking. Like I thought it would have been a great ending to the season, which they chose not to do it.
Yeah.
It would be a great start to the second season.
That's true. I I'm pretty sure, and they've kind of set it up as we've seen in the past few episodes. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a showdown between the Cargill twins, right? Eric and Eric, right? And then Kristen Cole will be appointed as the new Green Hand.
Oh.
And Corlys Valerian will be made.
How does that guy not age though? Like quite literally.
That's true. It's been about a decade.
It's like they better have a different actor for him in the next season because that's
or at
pretty
least give him
up.
makeup
because they recast everyone else. Well, I guess Daemon is like technically older already, kind of thing, so they can like recast him. But like Kristen Cole was pretty young, right? Like anyways. But
yeah. That's true. Who knows? We might get something, but they seem to cheat a little bit with guys. Like
big time.
Like maybe I think they also add makeup to make them look younger, but then if they need to look older, they add some wrinkles maybe.
Which I'm so happy they didn't recast the king.
Yes, I'm glad too.
So happy that they let him turn into Smeagol. Like
glad that that's what mortality is. Sooner or later, we're all going to become Smeagol.
Okay, so I have one thing I want to throw in there too. I think we're going to see Winterfell.
Yes, I think you're right. We're going to see it in some capacity because the Starks do play a role in the dance, right? But just going back a little bit. So I mentioned Kristen Cole as the Green Hand.
Yes.
And Corlys Valerian will probably be made Hand of the Queen for Rhaenyra's side.
Smart.
Yeah. But like
don't make Daemon.
Yeah, but as to your point, Nick, I think we might see the Starks around the butcher's what's later called the butcher's ball. If you recall that.
Yeah.
So that might where they
I
might
mean,
come in, or maybe earlier. We
they
might
they
get
might
some
show
stuff.
the sun going up there, right? Because he left with 2 messages at the end.
You're
But we
right. They're
only
supposed to go.
We only followed
Yes.
one sun. I was like, we're gonna see Winterfell.
Yep. Isn't
Gene!
and Joffrey's the one going to Winterfell, right?
Yeah, the older son,
The older son, yeah.
not the
and
one
then,
with the baby dragon.
No. And then what I'm actually really interested in is seeing the rise of the dragon seeds.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are not familiar with the lore, a dragon seed is a flowery term for Targaryen bastards. Because remember, it's already been stated in episode 10, there are several riderless dragons.
Yeah.
Right. And a shortage of pure Targaryen blood to ride them. Right.
Yep.
For Rhaenyra's side, right? So the dragon seeds are offered knighthood and trained as dragon riders, so that they can at least bring those extra dragons into the field.
Yep.
Which is like I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I didn't,
But
it's an interesting tactic.
fun stuff is like, where is their loyalty truly gonna lie?
Right.
Even though you give them a
Exactly.
dragon, doesn't mean they're gonna serve you forever.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what kind of remind me of is like it's in Korra, I think the Avatar sequel show. Remember when like all of a sudden airbenders are just like populated in the world? They're like,
Yeah.
yes, come over, we're gonna train you, and they're like, no, we don't know. It's like, yes, we need you now. That's how it is with Targaryens. Like, we need more Targaryen blood now. So yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, why now?
Yeah.
Because you want something.
Oh, I have a quick question for you. Sorry, I hate to jump off the so that big dragon, is that going to be Daemon's new dragon?
Oh, the bronze the bronze crap. It's the bronze something.
Yeah.
Not the bronze dread. I can't remember.
But that's like that dragon's bigger than his dragon.
Is it?
I think so.
It's
His
bigger
dragon's
than
more
Vegar?
Well, no, Daemon's dragon is more
Syrax.
snake-like. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like he's going to get an upgrade basically, I think.
I guess so, yeah. It would seem.
Yeah.
Because it seems like he's trying to bond with it.
Yes, and I'm curious what they're going to do with Sea Smoke.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like technically his rider's still alive, so
Nick, that's a great point. Dragon logistics is going to be a hot topic in season 2. Like, who's
Very
getting
hot.
what?
Yeah.
Like, who's, who's
especially
getting
because the
hot new
dragons
dragon
have to decide. It's like a 50-50 thing. Even though you're trying to pair someone, they may be like, nah. It's like swiping right.
Chomp. Yeah.
Yeah, chomp.
Dragons can be fickle creatures. And then, so my idea for where the season may end, may be, as I mentioned before, the Butcher's Ball. So it's a decisive battle between the Greens and the Blacks, and it results in the death of Sir Criston Cole, which is kind of a big, they always like to end on a high note, right? Yeah. So that might be one of them. Or
that's one of many deaths, though, that could happen.
Yes, true. And it also, and then the series may also end with the fall of King's Landing.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is another battle. So,
there's a lot of
see.
stuff
But
that happens, I think, in Storm's End too, right? Like in the Reach. Is that area is called the Reach, right?
The Reach is different.
Okay, I'm sorry. Jeez, gosh, I'm not looking at a map right now.
Because, like, if I remember correctly, Storm's End is Baratheon territory,
which
and
is
the
south
Reach
of King's Landing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'm not gonna. No, the Reach.
Yeah,
I think might have been.
I also might be wrong about that too. I don't have
guys.
the.
Comment down below.
It's been a while since I've seen the map.
Yeah, how wrong we are, but
yeah. Get in the comments, people. Okay.
So I'm super excited. I am really excited for the next season. I'm bummed we have to wait.
Oh yeah. How many do you have to wait? 2 years or something?
Well, it got green lit on episode 2, so they're writing and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what about you, Nick? Do you have any theories? Any predictions?
I'm kind of along the same ones with you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, basically going off the book.
Are we reading the same source material?
And then, what was the other clip I sent you?
So you sent me the where
Davos
yes.
and Princess Suri. Was that her name?
Yes, Shiri. Yeah,
Cherie.
yeah.
They were talking about. Oh my gosh, what character was it? The one that was sneaking up on the dragon.
It was a Barton Swan.
So has he been introduced yet?
No.
So okay, so that might be a fun character we're gonna.
I think he might be a bastard.
Ah.
One of the dragon seeds.
Oh, perfect. But I love that story, and I can't wait to actually see that play out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
that would be something
hilarious. So.
The Dance of Dragons, a true telling, by Grand Maester Munkin.
Well, that sounds like a proper story.
Sir Byron Swan wanted to kill the dragon Vegar. He polished his shield for a week so that it was like a mirror, and he crouched behind it and crept forward, hoping the dragon would only see its own reflection.
But the dragon saw a dumb man holding a mirrored shield.
And burnt him to a crisp.
And yeah, those were really good predictions. I'm along the same page. I think they're going to start off the season 2 with the big reveal of one of the prince's deaths. Yeah, I'm super excited. I don't want to say much more. But if you want us to cover more topics before the season comes out, let us know. We're super down to cover maybe more details or even certain battles that happen in the book, and we can just talk about it and theorize and have fun with it, because that's one of the best things about Game of Thrones. There's so much content in the books themselves, like Lady Stoneheart, and then you have this, and there's like so many other, like, you know, strange places to even go to where magic's different than this, and they kind of have their own White Walkers in the East, and they have their own Azor Ahai. You know, it's kind of like, what's going on here? So there's so much intrigue in this world. So if you want us to cover more in depth, I'm totally down. I'm actually currently rewatching Game of Thrones right now whenever I get a chance. I probably should be watching newer shows, but hey, this kind of sparked the game. I'm not going to go watch the, you know, season probably 7 or 8, but on that bombshell, go follow Kyle on Instagram. Becos with a 0. He's a super talented artist. Comment down below if you went and you saw his art. Thank you so much. Kyle is a very talented artist. He also does our cool shirt designs too. So if you like this dragon shirt, go check it out at asart.space. Yeah, we'll find all of our audio and video links there, and we'll see you on the next AsArt. I was already getting to like 30 minutes. I was like, I gotta wrap this up.
we gotta cut it.